Hey everybody, welcome back to Tim Travels. It's Terry, your host. So as you can probably tell, I'm at my house, and I wanted to kind of throw out a quick video and maybe talk some people off a ledge about diesel fuel prices. So last night, Trucker Richie Rich had a video where he was lamenting diesel prices and what he the political landscape and stuff, and there are a number of factors though that go into fuel prices. And by the way, the president of the United States typically has very little to do with good or bad fuel prices. Sometimes, like during the period of like 2006, 2007, fuel prices were high, and that was in part because oil is dollar denominated. So a barrel of oil is denominated in dollars. Our currency was weak compared to other currencies at the time. So that meant that a dollar was worth less. And so there were price spikes in for barrels of oil because it's dollar denominated. And the reason the dollar was weak is because we were borrowing money from China to support the war effort in Iraq and Afghanistan. The price spikes now and the prices going up, it's probably partially due just to general inflation, but it's also due to the situation in Ukraine because it impacts. Even if a drop of oil from Russia was not going to come and eventually end up in your truck, it affects the global market on crude oil and production. I will say that the UAE has already said that they're in favor of increasing production. The other thing that you should keep in mind is that while this will take a while, once oil is above about $70 to $75 a barrel, it becomes profitable for U.S. producers, like in the Bakken Shale area and some other places, to start firing up more production. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but I did want to just throw out a couple of ideas about how to deal with this. So I'm going to throw up a chart, and this is from the EIA, which is a governmental agency. It's the Energy Information Administration. And there's a survey that they do weekly, and they publish numbers on all sorts of fuel supplies, prices, etc. And so the screenshot I did is from the data from the 7th of March. So wait, today's the 10th. So 3 days ago, this came out. It shows the average price by region, but it also shows how much prices have gone up. And the interesting thing to me was that prices in California, even though they're high, they've actually gone up less on a percent basis. How do I want to say this? Not percentage, but like penny per penny basis than other areas of the country, even though they're still pretty high. But it's probably been less sticker shock because as a percentage and also raw price, it's gone up less. So take a look at that for a second. Okay, so you'll notice that the EIA.gov website there. So if you want to check this, every 7 days they come out with this. Now, that doesn't cover daily price spikes, which we are seeing. So some of the things that you can do to help mitigate this. I'm not saying make it, go away. It's not going to. But here are a few ideas, and I put a little bit of thought into how I buy fuel just generally. And one of the things you can do is you got to know how much you're paying. In other words, you pull up to a truck stop and it says $4.99, right? So you're like, okay, I'm paying $4.99. Well, that's great, But if you forget about how much you paid and how much you bought 2 minutes after you do it, then you really haven't done yourself any good, because those data points will help you in deciding where to purchase and how much to purchase at a later time. If you know what the prices are in different places, and by the way, if you go to like Love's website or their app, or you go to Pilot/Flying J, they will tell you a given truck stop what the fuel price is. Now that doesn't mean that it's not going to change before you get there, but at least you'll have some idea of what it looks like at that particular facility. So knowing the price of fuel, what it cost yesterday, is going to help you make a decision about where to buy fuel today. Okay? And in so doing, you can do what is called dollar cost averaging for your fuel. So for instance, let's say that you're in Pennsylvania, and I just happened to note this because I was in Carlisle getting a washout yesterday, and I mentioned this on Richie Rich's channel. Petro in Carlisle had a sign price of $6.05 a gallon for diesel. So that's a data point. And if you just happen to love Petro, although Petro, Love's was cheaper, the Flying J up the road was cheaper just on the sign. You might say, okay, I paid $6.05. And by the way, Pennsylvania has the highest fuel taxes in the country. So maybe Pennsylvania fuel prices are outliers. I mean, some guys love to buy, like Freight Skater, he loves to buy fuel in Pennsylvania because he pays more taxes, and he feels like that helps him down the road when he leaves Pennsylvania. He's already kind of got tax money in the bank. Now that's a little bit of a different issue with the IFTA taxes. But knowing what your fuel price is, where you get it, and keeping track of that data is going to help you if you want to try to dollar cost average. Because then you can go down the road, and let's say you head down 81 and you're like in Virginia, and you're like, oh, that fuel is being advertised right now for 30 cents a gallon less than I paid in Pennsylvania. I should top off my tanks. And that's the other thing too, is knowing when to only buy 50 gallons and knowing when to buy 200. So that can save you money over time. And none of this is easy, but it can save you money. The second thing is the obvious, okay? The second thing is the very obvious, and you know what I'm going to say. Slow down, okay? Don't stand on it when you're leaving a traffic light. We all know how to economize, how to use less fuel. We just got to be disciplined enough to do it. Can you imagine how it would impact fuel prices if every truck driver in this country slowed down by just 2 miles an hour from what they normally drive? So there are guys out there that, they're going to drive 82 miles an hour. Okay, fine. Slow down to 80. The guys that are driving 70, slow down to 68. You drive 65 normally, slow down to 63. That will lessen the fuel price for everybody because it'll cut demand. And just 2 miles an hour is a significant change in how much fuel your truck uses and how much fuel we would all be using. So, you can't complain, well, I guess you can, about fuel prices being high when you drive in such a way that you only get 3.5 miles to the gallon when you could be getting 5 miles to the gallon. And, 5 miles to the gallon is a significant increase over 3.5. I mean, it's a lot. It's like a third. Actually, it's over a third. It's a significant increase. My truck, and by the way, just yesterday, I kind of make fun about Prime, how we drive and the speeds we go, and about not really caring what other people think. That's all true. But yesterday, because of how I got loaded at a shipper on what's today? Today's Thursday. On Tuesday, I had to drive up against the governor the whole day just to make my delivery on time. In fact, in Connecticut and parts of New York where the speed limit was 55, I'll just say I was exceeding the posted speed limit just to get there on time. That comes with the territory. But I don't do that every day, and if I don't have to, I don't. Some guys drive 80 miles an hour and don't seem to care whether they're going to get someplace and sit for hours. I mean, that makes no sense. And you can't complain about fuel prices when you don't do anything to save yourself money. Okay, and the last thing, so dollar cost averaging, slowing down, right? Adjusting our driving habits, coasting more. That's number 2. And then the third thing I wanted to just mention is, and again, I know that this is like, people know this, but it's a self-discipline thing. Truck drivers spend a lot of money on stuff that they don't need to. And one of the biggest costs is going into a truck stop and going to the McDonald's or to the Hardee's or to the Carl's Jr. or to the Wendy's and buying a meal there and eating it. First of all, and I get that people, like the convenience, they just want to get a hamburger or whatever it is, right? But we all know that food is expensive anywhere, but it's even more expensive at a truck stop. It's easy to spend $10. And if you do that twice a day, that's $20 a day. That's $140 a week. And I've talked to people and they've said, yeah, I spend $200 a week on food at truck stops. While we all got to eat, you can get meals that are just as good by just planning a little bit better, and you could spend a lot less money. And now, is that going to make the price of fuel go down? No. But when things are expensive in one area, economizing in another may be a way to kind of mitigate the damage. In other words, keep more of your money because you're going to have to spend it in different areas. I mean, it's just kind of simple economics, right? And so you got a fridge, you got a cooler. Go to Walmart. Like before I leave, I'm going to go to Walmart and get a bunch of stuff that I like to have on my truck. A bunch of Diet Coke, fruit, vegetables, things I can cook in my microwave. When I first came into trucking, I used to survive on $40 a week on the road. $40 a week. So if you're the guy that's spending, $30 a day at truck stops on food and snacks, that $30 is, extra money that you could be using to mitigate some of the damage from the fuel costs. Because it's a total budget. We could sit there and focus on $6 a gallon diesel, but maybe if we focused on, the $12 that we spent at Wendy's for dinner, it might all come out in the wash. The idea is take the same amount of money home every week and have your road costs be the same as they were 2 months ago. Well, if you're going to have to pay more for fuel and you do the dollar cost averaging and you make adjustments to your driving style, the last piece might be simply changing what you buy on the road and how you buy it. It's like headlight bulbs. My truck uses, I think they're H11s. I can go to Walmart and buy a 4-pack of H11s for the price of one H11 at a truck stop. So guess what I do before I leave? I buy windshield wipers for my truck, for my Freightliner Cascadia at the auto parts store here in the town I live in. It's cheaper than a truck stop. Think ahead, plan ahead, and save some money. It's it's just what you save is what's still going to be in your pocket. Um, and like I said, I think these prices are going to come down, um, or at least stabilize. And then maybe this is the new normal, and we just get used to it, and fuel surcharges catch up. Also, if you're at Prime or some other company that has some proprietary um, systems, use those systems. Know what the fuel prices are, where you are, but also 2 to 400 miles down the road, so you can make better decisions about this. So anyway, everybody stay safe, slow down, and oh yeah, and there's a bomb cyclone coming this weekend on the East Coast, so watch out for that. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.